What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have a special episode with a very special guest. But of course, you know, guys, triple play style, I got to introduce our guest here the proper way. We welcome in a man that has the most fantastic name that exists in the world today. He's the producer for Jomboy Media, Talkin Yanks, Talkin Baseball, Wakin' Jake, and Talkin Knicks. It's like a novel reading it. This man, you could say, is the master Yoda of producing podcasts. This man was also just a gleam in his dad's eye before the 1996 World Series, and he was nearly a doctor. Now he's writing prescriptions for the Yankees and the Knicks woes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Bug Dude, Big Baby David, a.k.a. David Mendelson, in the house tonight. Dave, what's going on, man?
Hey. How we doing, David?
Doing good, man. Doing good. It's weird when someone throws it back at you like that. Same name here. So we have to, before we get into anything here, we have to kind of go back a little bit. Our first interaction on Twitter was very unique. I don't think we really knew much about each other, but if I remember correctly, I think Jomboy tagged me in a tweet that was meant for you. And then from that point, we connected once he realized he tagged along David Mendelson. And I'm pretty sure you weren't Big Baby David then. So maybe was that like the sign of like, maybe I got to differentiate myself from other David Mendelsons here?
I think I had the username at the time, but something like that happened. Definitely was. There's reasons to use not the full name, I guess. Claimed.
Well, we said before, like not too often you see the guy with the same name, but we share it. David Mendelson is very. I mean, again,
this
best
name
specifically,
not one I've come across, and then it's somebody in the space, I guess.
That's right.
It's like, okay.
I think you're the only other David Mendelson I've personally ever met / heard about. I know they exist out there. Have you ever met or talked to another David Mendelson?
Not met. There's been like I've checked out the other guys on Instagram that have it because part of how the username happened was like the just straight up David Mendelsons were taken. There's I guess there's like a dozen of us, and one of them got all of the straight up names. So I've looked at some Instagram accounts before, and I think I remember this is like middle school, like real immature stuff. I like became Facebook friends with one of them because I like just added him, and I could tell he was like probably around my age. And I just liked every post of his because I was like, oh, when people see David Mendelson, like they're gonna think he liked all his own posts. That is high comedy. So yeah, that's the only interaction I've had with one. I got blocked, so I don't think he and I are on great terms.
I can't say I'm surprised, but it's still hilarious.
It was I didn't slow play it enough. I should have let that linger.
So let's talk a little about you, man, and just kind of how you've gotten to where you're at today. So first, how'd you get started with Jomboy? And I'm pretty sure you're one of the OGs, right? Like obviously you didn't start it, but you were pretty much one of the guys early on, one of the first like salary guys there, right?
Among the first on board in like any capacity, depending on who you ask. I'm anywhere from 3 to 5 as far as employee number, or like when you get on payroll. I think at the time I went full time, I was maybe the 10th person going full time, but I was in a part-time capacity since 2018 and went full time in 2020. So I was in the mix and around for a while.
So you started out interning when you were in school, right? And then you've pretty much just worked your way up the ladder to where you're at now. What was that process like for you?
Yeah, so I mean, my like sophomore, junior year of college, I have I'm mixing my years right. I knew I wanted to be in the sports media space. Didn't know exactly what that was going to entail. Around when I started like really using Twitter, I like had this internship where I was writing and stuff too. So I was like really watching the Yankees night in, night out. It was around when like Jomboy Jimmy started tweeting himself and like doing GIFs and all that, particularly like playoff time. I was in all of his, at the time, Periscope Live, like chats. I guess Periscope's not around anymore, but I was in all those chats. So I got used to seeing my username. We became just like Twitter friends. And then the following August, now I'm remembering it. The following summer, I had an internship where I was writing a lot, like an unpaid thing that I could just like do while I stayed at school and worked like a desk job over the summer. So I was just writing articles all the time. I was having like a nice little blog going. And then Jimmy and I finally like met at a Yankee game because I went to school just outside of Philly. The Yankees played like a 3-game series there in 2018. He was at one of the games, so I finally met him there. A few weeks later, I was on vacation with my family down the Jersey Shore, which was like, and I was a town over from where he was working out of at the time. So then I like we DM'd each other and we're like, hey, I'm like 5 minutes away. We met once, I'm not weird. You want to like hang out or something? I thought like maybe we'd like get lunch. And then he's like, oh yeah, you want to like come over, watch the Yankee game? I was like, all right. I don't think nowadays we're inviting fans over to our houses to watch the games with us, but
not at this
at the time that worked. He knew I wasn't crazy. From there, I was talking to him. I was talking about how I do all this writing stuff. At the time, our website, talkinyanks.com, because it's really just the Yankees at that point, had like a blog feature. We've since moved on from having that, but just too much to maintain. But so then for free, just I wanted to be involved, and I was still had a year left of college. Like it didn't really matter to me. This internship was ending. It's like, all right, I can still go write about the Yankees over here. So I was just blogging for a while. I was kind of the only like consistent presence on our site, so he's appreciative of just content being there. And then and we would just like talk a lot. He taught me like personally how to like make GIFs and like live tweet a game and like what he does, the software he uses, all that. So we would talk about like making GIFs and stuff during games, chatted a lot. He started having me help out a little bit with like running at Talkin Yanks. In hindsight, didn't do a very good job. If I did that same work today, like what our full-time like social media team does, I would get fired. But at the time, it felt like I was doing great work. So they were appreciative of that. I did like Instagram videos for a while. Eventually, they were like, he and Jake were like, we can't really pay you for this, but if you start like helping us out with like the t-shirt store, like when there's a new design, like upload it to the website or something, or if we're doing like a discount code, I think it would have been like every Yankees walk off. It was like there's a discount code for the next 24 hours or something. I think that was one promo we did. So it'd be my job to put like that code in. So stuff like that. And they're like, we pay you $1 for every shirt we sell, I think was the wage there. So at the time it was like just enough money that like upon graduating, I didn't need to have just like some retail job while I look for full-time work, but still needed to look for full-time work. There's a good in between. Stayed blogging, stayed all that. Eventually get like kind of a full-time job, still doing all this stuff on the side. But then eventually January 2020 comes around and Jimmy like texts me basically saying like, hey, we like have the capacity for a full-time position if you want it. At the time we were calling it a shadow. We didn't really know what it was going to mean, but they were just like, yeah, I don't know. We kind of just know we want you around when we're like doing something. So, and that fairly quickly became producing the podcasts and, in charge of recording, editing, all that.
Full Adobe Premiere experience.
Yes. Jimmy personally taught me all that. So it made sense. He should get some value out of it by whatever work I do, he gets. So, went full-time 2020, and then all of a sudden we've got 70 something people now. And, I guess almost 3 full years full-time. And yeah, we're here. I don't know. It's long-winded answer, but it's kind of weird story.
It's cool because there's not many people that can say they had a side job that was a dream to be full-time, and then they actually end up getting to do it full-time. So the fact it's a testament to how hard you worked, what you were willing to, in a sense, like basically do on just to help them out, even if you weren't necessarily making like a ton of money, but you were invested with them. And that loyalty paid off for you in the long run because you were sticking around helping them out when you weren't expecting it to be full-time at any point at that time. So like,
Yeah. I
and now,
figured like one day I could see the light at the end of the tunnel that like it was gonna happen, but I thought it'd be like now-ish that it'd be like, all right, I could finally go full-time doing this.
yeah,
But no, I can pretend the Astros didn't accelerate that timeline, but they did. So I was able to basically leave the only other like job I've had after like 7 months. So
yeah.
only other full-time job I've worked other places, but as far as post college, that was it. And this was always I don't think I ever even like changed my LinkedIn like title away from like Jomboy media stuff. I never like I worked at a college doing stuff. I don't think I ever even like put that on LinkedIn until it was like done. So
That's pretty awesome.
like this was like
Yeah,
the main thing,
it's pretty
which they
cool.
didn't like
But
as much. But
can I advocate for you to get a smaller screen than the little box in the corner? Like, can we have Big Baby David get like a 4-way split screen between whoever's on, whether it's, the normal guys and then you? Just like, I just want you to have your own space to be the same size. Is that something we can make happen in the next like year or two or anything like that?
hey, maybe I think I've got a performance review coming up eventually, so it could be discussed. There's days you wouldn't mind the bigger screen because every now and
Yeah.
then. Every now and then you read a couple too many YouTube comments where they think you're like, I like shouldn't be welcome to speak, and those hurt.
Yeah.
But like truthfully, every time I've ever seen people in person, they're like, "Oh, I always like when you say stuff." So it's always
Yeah.
insightful. I'm like, okay, cool. I know people like it.
You're advocating for all the David Mendelsons out there. Have that big screen for all of us
We're all one
to watch
team.
you. Exactly. Do you have a preference between talking Yankees or talking Knicks? Like, if you could pick one out of the two, is there one you strongly or more towards?
It's Yankees, just business. It's been the Yankees has become the full thing.
Yeah.
So they definitely have had the bulk of my attention, and truth be told, like baseball is the sport I like have the most like expertise on. Like I like know baseball on like a respectable level. Like I don't think anyone could question me. Where basketball, I don't know. I never like really played. I just am a big fan, and I know enough that I participate in the Talkin Knicks podcast. But like I know I'm not a basketball guru. I just like basketball a lot and know some stuff. Baseball, it's like no, I know I'm a smart baseball person. I get it. And just I've gotten very, very invested in the Yankees, obviously, because that's sort of the main thing. But I do love my Knicks.
Well, plus the fact the Yankees are usually a lot
They're
better than the
consistently
Knicks.
good, which helps.
Yeah.
They're always contending. The Knicks, when they're good, there's not much in the world better than that. But man, are they rarely good.
Yeah. I mean, even Jalen Brunson, you thought would inject a little bit of life, and they're not bad this year, but they're definitely they're not having a chance with how stacked the Eastern Conference is.
We're like hoping they can finish above 500.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Brunson's cool. We got to figure out that next move. But
yeah, I've said this before. RJ Barrett is, for the amount of shots he takes, he's one of the worst, and in just my opinion, one of the worst players in the league. Because if you're going to shoot 25 shots and hit like 8 of them on like a nightly basis, or he'll shoot,
that's not going to work
shots
regularly.
I just feel like he shoots a ton for how inefficient he is.
Yeah, and I still love RJ, but I had really high hopes for him this year. And I am in my core an RJ believer. He can figure it out, but this year he's gotten better than that. He had a pretty dreadful first 2 months of this year, but it's gotten a little better. But I would like some more.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. Let's go back to the Yankees though.
Yeah.
I'm interested with the Yankees. So, do you guys like dive into the fantasy realm, or are you guys strictly talking more just like major league? Do you guys like play fantasy baseball?
I think I have a fantasy baseball team. We don't like focus on the fantasy aspect of the Yankees very often, I'd say, but you got some second. I just have a fantasy team. I don't know. We have like an office league.
Okay.
Mess
Do
around.
you guys like dabble in the betting side of things at all for baseball, or?
Yeah, we do some gambling stuff. We work with DK. I don't know what if I'm allowed to say them, but
Nah, you can.
we work with
We'll
them.
give them the free advertising this episode.
Yeah, we have we work with DraftKings on a lot. They sponsor a lot of our shows, and that's so there's some sponsored content there as well as just so that's where we do it when we do it.
Right.
Yeah, we're involved in the gambling space.
Do you guys dive into the analytics side of things? Like, we'll go to like Baseball Savant or Fangraphs. Like, look at guys.
We're pretty
like
frequently over there. Yeah.
Okay. So you can get nerdy like us. So
yeah, we've got a nerdy side to it for sure.
It appeals to you get the nerdy side to appeal to the nerdy guys. You get the guys that are like, I hate analytics, and you guys can
got some personality driven stuff for that crowd. And I think one of our strengths on like the podcast end is turning. I think we're pretty good at making the analytical nerdy stuff a little more digestible for people who wouldn't otherwise be into it. I think we make it at least a little more digestible. Could be wrong, but I think that's one of our strengths.
It's a very good thing if you can make that side not turn people off that are necessarily not into it, and being able to translate it in a way they can understand, because it's the way baseball is going these days ultimately. And like, if you can make it in a way that people understand what you're talking about. And I know there was another former major, I think Xavier Scruggs, thank you. I know he put some videos out there trying to break down some stuff recently too. And just that when we've had just ball players on here, like when I've interviewed current or former ball players, it's a lot of them are kind of anti-analytics. So it's kind of like making that transition to where everybody feels comfortable talking about it, and maybe not necessarily embracing it, but being able to have conversations and not feel completely disgusted by it.
Yeah, analytics certainly suffers from like a branding issue. It's like it's like all it is. Like Trevor Plouffe says this a lot on when we're talking about guys in baseball that are a little closed off. It's like it's just information. It's just like a couple. It's just extra information to use while you're going about your work as a player.
Yeah, I think it's when it's forced on them. Like, I remember when I was talking with Matt Garza, who pitched in the league for a little while, and I was talking with him about the analytics, and he said, he was like, look, I just like to go out there and do my thing. He was like, as long as they're not forcing analytics down my throat, he was like, I'm open to it, but like ultimately I'm going to go out there and just do what I want to do. I don't really, that's second to me.
Yeah, that's not going to be the reason I do X, Y, or Z. It's like, if you want me to work on, you think I have a good curveball and want me to work on it in the bullpen, and if I feel good about it, sure, but I'll throw that more often. I don't know what his pitch mix was off the top of my head, but I imagine
it was
something
interesting.
Like that's what he wants.
Because he was talking about like when he was with the Twins, they basically just had him try to throw more off-speed stuff, and he was more of just like wants to go heavy fastball. And when he got to the Rays, they were like, just go heavy fastball, and like he became
that's what you're comfortable doing.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just that simple. It's crazy. Tell me about like working with Trevor Plouffe. Obviously, you have Chris Rose over there. I know you're pretty good buddies with Cole Tucker, and of course, there's just so many different guys that are now a part of Jomboy. So, what's it like working with a bunch of the guys like that?
It's pretty cool, man. Like, we're at a point now where a lot of guys like want to be involved or like are excited to come meet us. At times we've gotten to like invite people to the office or onto the show. It's cool that when they like are already excited to get to know you, they don't see you as like any other media place or where sometimes traditional media is seen as like the enemy, and we never wanted to be looked at that way. And I don't think guys view it like that. We're just trying to have fun with them. As far as like working with Trev, like he's the one I work with directly with the most. We do, talking baseball several days a week. I mean, you'll never hear me say a bad word about Trevor Plouffe. He's an absolute man. He's been up for anything. The way, he's like fully embraced like what this job is. Like he could easily just like only want to hop on talking baseball once a week or if that, and like playing a couple blitzball games, and that'd be kind of it. But no, he like wants to do more. There was a time like 2020 season, like we didn't have him on the recap episodes. We just had him during the week. And the next year he was like, no, I want to be on the Monday, Friday recap episodes. I'm watching the baseball games too. Like I want to be involved in more stuff. Chris Rose comes along and he and Trev start a daily, half hour live stream, which is now Baseball Today. Like he's been such a good figure for us, and especially at the time he decided to become like all in. It gave us so much more legitimacy. We're seeing so much more professional, for lack of a better word. Like I don't think people viewed us as unprofessional, but it just gives you a lot more credibility. We have a major league guy there. I've learned so much about like the game and how locker rooms work and how ball players think from him. And then after that, the other guys we've talked to, and Cole Tucker like comes to the office for 3 days and during the playoffs because he just wants to like see us and do a New York City weekend basically and chatting with him. Like every now and then he like just texts me TV recommendations. It's like, Cole Tucker, you don't got to do that, man. I've never expected like that to be like a real friendship, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just everything is kind of, I don't have like a succinct way of putting it, but just everybody's been so nice. Very few guys we've like ever not had like glowing things to say after interacting with them. Like just everyone's been very cool.
I mean, you guys give off a really chill, fun vibe. Also, you guys work really hard. So I think it's a really good combination. Guys are seeing all the hard work you guys are putting in to make Jomboy Media what it is and what it continues to be. But then again, like the chill vibe that you guys have, it's like that's, I think, what really can gravitate people when you combine the best of both worlds. So like y'all are doing it, man. Y'all are doing the thing. And that's why Jomboy is becoming what it's become. And it's definitely, for people like myself that, we do like sports podcasts and like other things kind of like part-time. It's like kind of what we strive to be someday. And you guys set the golden standard for that. So like, it's a testament to how hard you guys have been working.
Well, appreciate that. Glad it doesn't go unnoticed.
Let's go back to the thing you guys talk about all the time, the Yankees, because I was telling you ahead of time and I don't want to forget it. You guys went to the ALCS last year. The Astros are your daddies right now. There's no other way to put it. They have a little bit of ownership of you guys, but
they've got our number.
They do. And you bring in Carlos Rodon, who I'm always a little worried about, but when he's actually on the mound healthy, he's a baller. Aaron Judge rightfully signed to an extension. And then you got some exciting young players and Anthony Volpe that could be up this year. And as Wald Peraza, who did get a taste last year. And he's also an exciting young player that you guys have. Is there a player maybe that you're really high on this year you think surprises people or somebody that we got to bring to the attention to the radar here that like, hey, this guy's going to be a baller. Just watch for this man this year.
There's a couple ways to go with it. I would, my mind first jumps to Gleyber Torres, just like, hey, by the way, he's still here and is an exciting young player himself. The numbers, while he maybe hasn't continued the trajectory that it looked like he was going to have 2019, juice balls helped out. He got 38 homers that year. Like
Orioles too.
He hasn't, the power has gone away a little bit. That wasn't truly what he is power wise, but his bat to ball is still very good. He is now back at second base full time, and it's clearly done wonders for him. If not for that, he had basically the worst month ever in August. You take that out, he had a very, very good season. And the numbers are still pretty good if you include that on the whole. Just kind of I want to remind people Gleyber Torres is a good player. Probably the guy that more fits the answer to the question is Oswaldo Cabrera. He's going to be he's a chance to be the left fielder, but he's going to be moving around. He's a stud at every defensive position in the playoffs. His outfield play, he looked like a guy who hasn't played a lot of outfield, and he is a guy that hasn't played a lot of outfield. He had like 3 games in right field in the minor leagues before coming up, and then he mostly had to play corner outfield once he did. This is a guy who's supposed to be a glove first infielder who's played an electric right field when he was over there, that I think if he has pretty regular time in Yankee Stadium left field this year, he'll be perfectly fine. He's athletic. He after a tough first week or so in the big leagues, he really hit down the stretch. The playoffs, sure, it's a different beast. He looked like a rookie, but I think that dude's really, really gonna hit. And basically like the full year before he had his MLB debut, he had like 30 something homers in his last 162 games played. Like this dude can seriously poke a homer. He can ambush you. He is genuine. He can hit a homer off you, and I think in general he's going to be able to hit, and he's going to have a very long major league career as a guy who can play everywhere and hit enough. I'm excited this year to find out if we have a better idea if that's as like a starting level player or if he's going to be this career like super utility guy that like everybody wants on their team as a bonus piece. He's really awesome, fun to watch, electric personality. And I hope that this year he continues what we saw during the regular season last year. Because if he's like a real player, that'd just be so much fun. Two, really important for the Yankees to have a young guy under control for a little bit while they have some guys on pretty expensive deals.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even 24 years old. Bats, he's a switch hitter, which obviously can always be appealing. Right now, roster resource, which isn't the end all be all, has him on the bench to start the year. So they have him projected to not be in the starting lineup. To be honest with you, it's kind of surprising that not even DJ LeMahieu is projected to be in the starting lineup, which is wild considering just a couple of years ago what he did.
And even most of last year until the foot, he tried to play through the foot thing in August, and it tanked his whole season's numbers basically because he was like sneakily an MVP candidate. Obviously, Judge and Ohtani were a tier above everyone else, but DJ was heading towards a top 10 MVP finish until that sort of tanked his season. He was awesome last year. He's not going to play a bench workload. I know that much. I don't know exactly how that's going to shake out, but DJ's going to play if he's healthy.
You'll have the Giancarlo Stanton missing 30 games with an injury, maybe twice throughout the season. Yeah, like that's you already know it's going to open up a spot at some point.
Yeah. At this point, you got to assume they'll give like Rizzo a timeout for his back 1 week.
Yep.
They'll figure something out. Maybe Donaldson's just still bad this year, and they get him out of there. I would bet he plays more than Yankee fans want him to, but
he's fallen off so much. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how many guys turn 37 have like the worst year they've had in a decade and then bounce back at age 38.
Yeah.
I don't think he's necessarily completely cooked. He can be better this year. I understand why the Yankees have optimism around him and his defense was great, but it looks like age to me was the issue there. But Donaldson seems like the guy to get out of there to give DJ some time at least.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm looking just a little bit into Oswaldo Cabrera a little bit. And I mean, just looking into like 30% ground ball rate last year, well below the league average, a 36% fly ball rate, well above league average. He's hit the ball to all fields, pretty much a good split between pull, straight, and opposite field. The weak contact right around league average. Like if you look, just all the underlying stuff with him show that he could be a very solid major league contributor, even going down to just like the swings, like his outside, his chase contact, only a little slightly below average, but his chase percentage for being such a young player is right about major league average too. Like everything there, man. It's like it's all there.
Him those first couple weeks, it hadn't fully clicked yet, but he was still putting together like quality at bats. The swings looked like very confident. Even when he isn't like doing well results wise, like he looks hitterish when he's up there, which is great. You want him to look like a guy's pretty confident, and that kid's confident.
We should make that a thing, being like if they look hitterish, that's when they want them at the plate. They know what they're doing.
If when you're struggling, you look like you're in control.
Yeah,
like, that's rare from a young player.
Let me ask you about another young guy, Jason Dominguez, the Martian. I went and saw him at first pitch Arizona at the Arizona Fall League, we watched a bunch of his games in person. He was making a ton of errors in the outfield, like left and right, a can of corn fly balls. Was really struggling at the plate. Talking to a few of my friends that are really in the prospect field, they said he's been down there so much doing those at like in the Arizona Fall League that he's pretty much over it at this point, and it doesn't seem like he is giving his full effort, and that's kind of why that you're seeing these bad results. Do you anticipate him being able to be someone that could live up to the hype that he has pretty much had? He's the number 2 prospect in the Yankee system right now. Do you think he could be the Martian, the guy that people are talking about at the big league level, or are you concerned kind of just anything you've heard about him or anything in his profile?
Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend I know the most about his like day in, day out, or like the results of his at bats. But I know last year the numbers are good on the year. He figured something out at that level, and he. I feel terrible for the kid that at 16 he's being called the next Mike Trout, next Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
Like nobody can live up to that. There's been 2 of those guys ever.
Yeah.
So for his sake, no, he won't live up to those expectations, but I think has become slightly underrated where guys, this is a kid who at 18 years old lost the season to the pandemic and comes over. I don't believe he is the most comfortable with the English language either. Like that's its own transition for a young player coming over from not living in America. I'm blanking on where exactly he's from, but he loses the season to the pandemic. He comes in, struggles at first, and it's like, he hasn't played baseball in a year and he missed like his age 18 season. So his development, lags behind a little bit, but he figured something out. I think he's going to be a good major leaguer. Do I think the Yankees should make him untouchable in trades? No, but that's because I don't think they should make really any prospect untouchable in a trade. I feel about as confident in him as you can, really anybody to eventually figure it out. I don't think he's going to be in the big leagues soon, like in the next year and a half. But I'm excited to hear more about him this year. I'd put it that way.
One of the many exciting young players you have coming up for the Yankees. They're really developing a lot of great young players, and the ages of the days of them buying a lot of their players, where you could have Red Sox fans or say like they're not doing that anymore. They'll bring in a free agent or two, but like they're really doing it the right way, developing a bunch of talent, through their minor league system, and all that good stuff. So it's funny. I'm not even a Yankees fan, but like I know so much about them, and just I'm always I've really come to like them more over the years because of that. And so when they beat my Twins every year in the playoffs, I'm not quite as salty about it. So, but
it's just at this point, it's just inevitable. It's just nothing you can do about it yet. The Yankees Twins stuff is every time I like see numbers from it, it's just very odd. It's hard to believe that those are real. Look, I like the Twins a little bit. Yankees, I'm not scared of them from a Yankee fan perspective. And then it's like, they got the Trevor Plouffe connection. We got, I like a lot of the players just that I've seen. So yeah, I got nothing against the Twins.
It's like the big brother, little brother thing, but they're stuck being the little brother forever.
I've fortunately had nothing to worry about. In the last 20 years. So.
I mean, I'm sure Trevor knows it too. Just the ownership the Yankees have of the Twins at this point, like it's
starting to feel supernatural. Like, no matter what happens, even during like the Yankees lean years, whether the Twins are having a good or bad year, that's what's happening. Until
the one thing that will always stick out to me is I forgot what year it was, but it was the year Urban Santana started for the Twins. And I want to say it was Luis Severino started for the Yankees, and the Twins got out to like a 4-0 lead or something like that in the first inning.
2017 wild card game.
Yep. And I remember watching the game, and I remember being like, oh my God, it's 4-0. I was like, there's no way we're blowing this.
Finally did it.
It wasn't even long. It was like I think it was the bottom of the first. They gave it all back.
Sevy only got one out, and it's 3-0, and Chad Green comes in and escapes it, and then bottom of the first, Didi Gregorius hits that homer, which is most Yankee fans my age or younger. That's like their favorite Yankee memory is that home run. The like sense of relief, you felt after that one as a Yankee fan was that was truly the best feeling in the world, was getting that over. It's like, oh, thank God, it's a new game. Okay, we can win now. So that one probably is a great memory for you, but that is like the best recent Yankee memory. We haven't won in a while, a World Series.
Your relief was our despair, that's for sure. You guys are definitely overdue for one. I mean, I think once you get over the Astros bump,
they have to get one.
Yeah, especially with this core.
Yeah,
they don't know.
Got to get one for Judgy.
Well, I don't want to keep you all night, so I got some fun questions for you. I'm hoping some of these might be the first time you've ever been asked these. So hopefully we'll see how this goes here. So just give me the first answer that comes to your mind. Would you rather would you rather wear green every day or eat 10 live spiders?
Oh, wear green. I do not like eating weird stuff.
Even like weird, just regular food? Like
I'm like a pretty picky eater. Unfortunately, like just not picky enough to be like the picky guy in the group.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah.
I drive my girlfriend nuts at like restaurants and stuff, because she wants to share meals or whatever. I'm like, I don't like the thing you got, so I'm not gonna have that.
Or is it like, do you like seafood, like all American food? Is there like a specific type you don't like?
Like seafood, kind of generally not into. That's like the one that's like kind of out. There's just like, but other cuisines, it's like I have like a dish I could get at most places. So I think I'm like just not picky enough that like most categories aren't just off the table. So
Okay.
that's fortunate. Like some people I'm like friends with like are much pickier than me, and like Asian food's out of the question. I'm like, I like me some Chinese food. Like big sesame chicken guy.
Oh, that's a good one. That's always clutch.
I remember, this is a few years into knowing Jimmy and Jake, I like mentioned on a stream that I'm a picky eater, and they like hadn't noticed it. It's like, well, yeah, because I can find the one thing I'll like at any place, but I am a picky eater. They found out like I don't eat soup. I like haven't had.
Oh, that's a whole difference. Wait, so no soups included in this?
Yeah, no soups. I don't really eat pastas. That's not like a picky eater thing, but it's like I wasn't into it as like I didn't like have it a lot as a kid or something, and that just feels like health wise. Don't get into it now. As is way a few too many pounds. So.
What about what's it called? Zucchini pasta.
Like I haven't had it. I can tell you that.
I mean, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. You're gonna try zucchini pasta sometime in the next week, and then come back with the full report on it. I mean, that way it's kind of like, it's maybe not pasta, but it's close.
Yeah, it's like at least half healthy, right?
That's right. Yeah. Would you rather have a lineup with Gary Sanchez in it or Joey Gallo in it?
Gary. I loved Gary.
You loved Gary? Really?
I loved Gary. And Gary has like contact to his game. No, just I was, there was a time when pretty much every day on Yankees Twitter was Gary Sanchez discourse, and I was pretty firmly a pro Gary guy. I guess you got to see him this year, and I don't think it was his best showing in Minnesota, but
nope.
Which is a little bit in line with what he had. I really thought he was going to be great just the second he got out of New York, and I guess he wasn't. So maybe I'm just wrong, but I love Gary. There's like just sentimental stuff. Like they sold off at the 2016 deadline. Gary came up and had like the most electric 50 games I've ever seen. Then he follows that up with like really good 2017 year, makes the All-Star team, 33 homers that year. 2018 is like bad year. 2019 was a good year. 2020 he was terrible, but it was pandemic 60 game seasons. What are you going to do? And then 21 he was mostly okay. I'm trying to remember the 2021 season actually, but there's a lot of debate in the Yankee world, and everyone was either very pro Gary or very anti Gary, and I was firmly in the pro Gary camp. I didn't care as much about his defensive stuff, which now having a year with Jose Trevino,
Yeah,
who's like the best defender. I like having plus defense a little more now, but for what Gary has the potential to be offensively, I don't think his defense is unusable. He has a great
mhm,
arm. We're gonna not need pitch framing much longer.
that's true.
So I love Gary. So give me all of that, and he has contact in his game that Gallo doesn't have.
Yeah, actually, 2021 and 2022 were very similar. 204 batting average in 2021, 205 in 2022. He had
Yes.
the home runs dropped a little bit this year, but he also had actually played in more games this year, so dropped in power
Yeah.
randomly.
I think
Uh,
you guys DH'd him like a little more often,
yeah,
especially early, which I guess keeps you in some games, but keeps him in more total games.
I want to say he's a free agent. I don't think he's
Yeah,
still with
not
the
signed
Twins.
right now. There's been very
Yeah.
little like rumors about him, which is pretty sad. I thought Red Sox were gonna do it, and then it didn't hasn't happened yet, and they got Alfaro on that minor league deal. It seems like he's gonna be their backup catcher. So I think
Mhm.
the Gary to Red Sox is done, which is nice for me because I want to be able to root for him. And the only other
Yeah.
team I've heard like even slightly rumored is the Angels. It's weird
Oh, I hope
to
not.
believe that after all that discourse around him, he's just unsigned right now. Like somebody's
Yeah.
got to do it.
I hope it's I want Logan O'Hoppe to be catching for the Angels, so I'm hoping bring him
Yeah, I
back to
would
New
like
York, have a
Ohapi.
reunion.
I'd
That'd be good.
be personally fine with it. The Yankees, I don't think, are changing their current catching situation. They love what Trevino and Hickey do for them, and I like those two a lot too. So
That's fair. That's fair. I'm sure there might even be when like an injury pops up that he's just like brought in.
yeah, someone's gonna lose their catcher in spring,
Yep.
and Gary will come in. They'll be
Gary
like,
saves
"Oh,
the day.
we'll have our annual." He shows up to spring and he's not wearing a baseball uniform that fits him baggy. So be like, "Oh, he's not fat." It's like, well, he was never fat. He just baseball uniforms. The way he wears his isn't
Yeah.
very flattering. But every time he's in a picture that isn't a baseball uniform, he looks very jacked.
All right, I'll have to have some more love for Gary Sanchez. I
Yeah.
definitely have not been giving him his due. So that
He
that'll
was
change
bad for
today.
you guys, and at this point, there's more, I guess, bad years than good ones. So maybe
Yeah.
I've got to eat some crow. I just don't like people. I don't like when people call him fat or lazy because this is a kid who like worked his ass off to like came over at like 16 years old and like to a new country and then like wants to like worked hard and made it to the big leagues. He's not lazy. He just it just hasn't worked yet, but
Oh
it
man,
has worked. On
I'm
the
looking
whole,
at
it hasn't
pictures of
worked.
him. He's definitely got some muscle on him.
Yeah, he looks amazing in any picture where he's not in like a baseball uniform, which some people look really good in a baseball uniform, which is tough. Gary he just doesn't wear a uniform great.
Maybe
He wears it baggy, man.
maybe he wears it tight. Maybe that allows him to start
Maybe
seeing the
that'll
ball
like
and hit it
unlock
better.
something in him.
Eh.
Get a new superstition.
All right, next one? Would you rather pee ice or fart fire?
Ooh. Probably fart fire. I'd get scared of the pee. That peeing ice sounds like it would hurt more.
That's true.
Uh, I feel like there'd be a pain element there. Where farting fire, I'll be honest. Like right before this, I had a fart that was pretty warm. That like not too dissimilar. Let's just turn that up like another like 3 notches. But I think I've done that.
Light the fireplace in your house, light a candle. There's a lot of good uses
There's
for it too.
utilitarian like use for that.
Yeah. What about would you rather on the show wear a cape or an eye patch for a month?
Ooh. Hmm. This one's tough because cape would just get annoying. Eye patch would too.
People might not notice the cape. They'll
Yeah,
definitely
cape you
notice the
can
eye patch.
probably like hide it. So I think I lean that way. I'm trying to think of like if it would be funny enough to like do the eye patch thing for a month and it can become like a thing. But yeah, I think cape because you can hide that a little bit.
There would definitely be a lot of jokes with the eye patch. I'm sure there'd be another nickname added to your current list of
Yeah.
nicknames.
I think so. That one I'm truly not fully decided on it. I'm leaning cape because you can hide it.
All right, fair enough. What about, would you rather have one nipple or two belly buttons?
Ooh, how's how are those distributed? Is that like
So
is
you're
the nip in the middle or just a missing one? Are the belly buttons stacked on top? Are they
That's a
like in
good
line with the
question.
nips? Depends how
I,
that would go. I
I'm
lean
gonna
one
say
nipple, but
I'm gonna say the belly
curious.
buttons would be like the nipples, where it'd be one on each side, and the
Okay.
nipple would be like the belly button. It would be in the middle.
Yeah, I think I think one nipple would be less jarring than two belly buttons. I think. And like belly buttons kind of just personally freak me out, so I
Yeah,
don't need two of them. I like don't touch mine, so
yeah,
I'm like I'm all set there. Two nipples
yeah.
would look weird, but the one nipple would look weird, but I think I'd take my chances on that.
I'm 100% with you. I don't like belly buttons, so I think that's, yeah, one nipple's the way to go there. This
I
next
think
one
that's right.
though, sandpaper as toilet paper or hot sauce as eye drops.
Ooh, sandpaper.
No
I think there's a
hesitation from you.
yeah that one like there like you obviously can't scrub too hard and that then you can get like injured. But I think if you have the right touch, uh, that might just get you like very clean.
I'm trying to even imagine the angle you would take to where you could
You
like,
gotta be pretty careful about it. You don't want to go too hard and like start bleeding or whatever. But like similar to like some other thing, like I'm not into messing around with my eyes. I am
that's fair.
scared of stuff going in there. So I would take my chances on that, even if I didn't believe it could be not that bad. The eye
Yeah.
stuff is just I'm not messing around with it.
Well, I think it's also like, are you going from 0 to 100? Like in terms of, it's a big thing now to use like wet, was it like wet naps or like wipes pretty much
Oh
to
yeah, I'm a wet wipes guy.
you are. 'Cause I've heard, I've been scared to do it because I've heard once you start, you don't stop. You don't go
You
back.
just feel so much clean. Like that's the same reason I haven't graduated to like getting a bidet in my apartment. Like I'm like I don't think I'll be able to go back if I do that. So
Yeah.
wet wipes easy enough to like keep a pack in the office or like toss that in a suitcase if you go away for a weekend and then you just keep it at the apartment. And then I still do like normal toilet paper to
But doesn't that
dry up a
feel
little bit, but
Just-
afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I feel very clean after the wet wipe.
I feel like it's
I'm a
like
firm
taking
wet
a
wipe guy.
shower.
Yeah, taking a shower also helps.
Well, I meant like it's almost like taking a shower for your butt.
Yes.
Like it's like
Oh, yes. You
the
just get
wash and
like
the
that little
dry.
bit extra clean. What sucks is that the wet wipes are like I think they're like terrible for the environment. Like I'm
Okay.
firmly on like the use wet wipes team, so like I won't look up like what it is, but I just hear people say that like they're terrible for the environment. I'm like, well, I'm gonna keep using them.
I feel like
I pamper my butthole.
yeah, I feel like you guys are overdue for like a dude wipe sponsor or something.
I've texted people on sales saying that there's a pack without saying their name. There is a pack of maybe the company you just said in my
Ooh.
desk that I bring to work. Like I use it. So if they want to pay me to say their name, I will take it.
I couldn't blame you
I would
there.
speak glowingly.
Like I was a customer before they were a sponsor.
Yes.
Now we're just hand in hand together here. Now would you rather sort by price or by rating?
um, by price. But if I can see like the star rating or whatever, like just to have that there. No, by price for sure. I like them. I don't like look at ratings
Yeah,
very
I'm the
often.
same.
Yeah.
Uh, what about, would you rather clog the toilet in the office or before you dated your girlfriend on your first date when you met her?
Oh, office and that can be funny.
Well, yeah, I was gonna
But
say that.
girlfriend, it's like that. We would have just been like done after that. Like
Yeah.
even if that wasn't a deal breaker for her, I would have we would have been done. We would have been done.
Yeah, I do feel
But the
like
office, like that can be a funny day. I think that like that might have At one point, I think our Bronx office toilet got clogged, and that was like just a funny day. Like, oh, toilet
Yeah.
doesn't work. We gotta wait for the guy to come. Like, we tried our best.
I do feel like it's almost like you're like a champ. Like I shit so much that the toilet couldn't handle it, and I'm a legend for the day or whatever the case may be. You know?
Like, we did it.
Yeah. All right. I'll give you like two more here. Would you rather find 1K under your pillow every night or wake up with a new superpower every day?
Am I keeping? Are these like compound? Like I'm getting a new superpower literally every day. That's like I still have the old ones I'm getting.
No, so you would get a new one. You don't get to
Just
keep
have a
them.
new
So
one
it'd
every
be a
day.
new one every day. The old one goes away, or you get $1,000 every day.
Man, I've saved enough that like I probably shouldn't say, but I could really use the 1,000 every day for a couple years here. I could really use that.
That'd be
So
pretty
I'll
nuts.
take the money right now. That's for just waking up, tax free. Like,
Just right there, like the tooth fairy, just pops it under
yeah.
your pillow.
Hopefully, in like 5 years, I'm answering that differently, and I don't need that. But $1,000
Yeah.
is a lot every day.
What
Like,
about if it was
if you
500?
said like 1,000, if it was like 1,000 a month, I think I still would have taken it.
Oh,
Like
really?
just yeah, like we're like that's a lot of money to get for no additional work.
Yeah. I mean,
But superpowers would be cool and a fun experience. But some of them would probably suck to have. I can't think off the top of my head which one it would be, but some of
maybe
them
like
probably would.
I feel like the invincibility doesn't, or when you're like invisible, like I feel like what's the benefit when you're like 13? You're like, I'm gonna sneak into the girls' locker room and watch them get changed. But like once you're like older, it's like what, like that doesn't.
Yeah,
What would be
once
the
you're like
appeal
not
about being
like
invisible?
literally a child anymore, and you're
Yeah,
like, it's like, oh no, that would just be really rude thing to do. So I would have no use for that now.
it would
But yeah,
literally
when I
be
was
like,
13, I would have loved that.
yeah, exactly. Like I feel like the only thing now would be like it's the petty thing where you'd be like, I wish I could hide and see if people talk about me or something. You know, like
Yeah, it'd be something like that. It would be like the only use for it. And you
yeah,
probably could get that on one of the other superpowers. You could probably get like omniscience.
yeah.
It's like, all right, just know
um,
what they think.
that'd be pretty dope. All right, what about this one? This we'll end on this one. Fulfill your biggest wish or resolve your biggest regret.
Ooh, I don't, I don't think I have any like huge regrets that like ache me that like need to be resolved. I think like having like like biggest wishes fulfilled. I don't even know exactly what that wish would be right now,
Yeah.
but like fulfilling more things in the future. I can the regrets that I have in my life aren't crippling to me. So I'm in a good place there that I don't think I have anything I truly that like haunts me.
I mean, that's perfect, man. Like just looking forward, don't look back. And even the fact that there's not even a super big wish right now, it's very happy with where you're at and how things are going. You can't really beat that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I guess the fact that I want $1,000 for, I guess more money.
yeah.
More money's a big wish.
The question led up to the real wish
I want to
there.
not think about financials ever again.
Dude, just
But
hit on some big
that
bets
ain't
and then
happening.
there you go. That'll solve that problem.
Yeah, I am 0 for the playoffs, but for football.
Oh man. Well, hey, David Mendelson, again, best name. Also great dude now. We got to finally talk. I appreciate you
Oh
coming on the
yeah.
show and spending some time hanging out. Just for the people that might be living under a rock that aren't familiar with you or what you're doing, please like plug your Twitter, plug all the Jomboy stuff or anything you want people to check out.
Oh yeah. First of all, thank you for having me. Absolute blast. And I appreciate any David Mendelson out there. At Big Baby David _ on Twitter, no underscore on the Instagram, just Big Baby David straight up. Those are kind of the two things I use. I have a TikTok, don't really use that. Check out Talkin Yanks, Talkin Baseball, Talkin Knicks. We're on the apps. I guess the YouTube is probably where I should be directing people, but Yeah, talking Yanks, talking baseball. Those are the two main things. Wake and Jake. People should be listening to that show because Wake and Jake's really good and we talk about everything. It's basically just bonus talking baseball, but it's just Jake and I like hanging out, talking. We get to cover other sports a little bit, but we also do our own baseball thing there sometimes. So, Wake and Jake. If you like baseball, if you like the other sports, Jake and I talk about it over there.
Check out Wake and Jake. Check out Talkin Yanks. Check out everything that goes on over at Jomboy. They're great dudes. And obviously, you guys can tell that from this interview. They do great stuff. So make sure you're following all of them on the socials. Make sure you're checking out their content. And make sure you guys check out more triple play stuff because we got more interviews. We got more fantasy talk. We got more betting. We got more everything here. So just stick around. It'll be a great time, honestly. So for David Mendelson, we are out. We'll catch you all in the next one.